Alright guys, welcome to our first online lesson. Alright, so you are responsible for taking notes, and on Monday I will check your notes and you will get credit for your for taking notes, and then homework that is assigned on section 5.2 it will be done in class on Monday. Alright, so here we go. In today's lesson we're gonna talk about zero and negative exponents. Recall that in 5.1 we talk about some of the laws of exponent that deals with quotients. So now today is just a few more additional information upon those laws. So first thing is if n is a positive integer, okay, and the a value is a non-zero number, then here's what we know, guys. We know that if you take a number, okay, if you take any number and raise that to the 0 power, then you always get 1. Okay, so anything to the 0 is 1. Keep that in mind. And the second thing I want you to know is if you take any number and raise that to a negative n power, then that is the same as saying 1 over a to the n. Alright, so a to the n, there you go. So any negative exponent is the same as 1 over a to the n. Now just for your information, we say that the expression 0 raised to the 0 is actually undefined. Okay, so we really don't know what that really means. You want 0 raised to the 0 power? That's weird, so it's undefined. Alright, so and by the way, if you have a 1 over a to the negative n power, then what is this really equal to? That's the question. So remember what we had earlier. We know that a to the negative n, that was, remember from earlier we know that that's 1 over a to the n, right? So 1 over a to the n, that is actually the same as a to the n if you flip it, okay? Because to divide is to multiply by the reciprocal, and that's why it becomes a to the n. All right. So just some quick practice problem for you that involve these laws of exponent, and I don't know why this a keeps showing up. Oh, there it is. Okay, so number 1, if you have, say, 10 raised to the negative 2 power, then let me go ahead and write down the problem, and then I'll work them out in a different colored pen, which hopefully is easier for you guys to see. Okay, so 3, and then we'll write number 4 down here. So 3x negative 2. Alright, so let's go back to number 1. First of all, I notice a negative exponent, so from my first law, I know that this is the same as 1 over 10 to the second power. Remember how we talk about that? Negative exponent, 1 over 10 to the second. We took the 1 over, so, and then 1 over 10 to the second is the same as 1 over 100. Okay, so there you go. Alright, over here, number 2. This is the one that gets raised to the negative. Alright, the 3 is not raised to a negative power, so the c to the second is at the bottom. The negative 3 stays on top, okay? And that's really the best you can do, so there you go. Okay, so remember, anything that's raised to the negative, move it down and it changes sign. Oh, I didn't copy down the problem for number 3, so let me go ahead and do that. 2 to the negative 1, a to the 0, and then b to the negative 3. Alright, so set that equal. Okay, so I'm gonna highlight all negative exponent. So negative exponent. That's the one that has to be moved to the bottom, guys. So this is 2 to the 1, okay, b to the third power, and we know that a to the 0 is 1. All right, so that is really the best we can do. So you have 1 over 2b to the third. Okay, there you go. All right, for number 4, make sure you use the laws of exponent that we talked about in chapter 4. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this 2 and I'm going to go ahead and move it to each of the base inside. So the first thing we're going to do is, it should look like this, guys. 3 to the negative 2, and then x to the negative 2, like that, okay? Now, whenever you see a negative exponent, then you bring it down, remember? We talk about that in the few of the previous problems. So 3 squared goes down, x goes down, 1 stays on top. Clean this up a little bit. 1 over 9x squared. All right, so put a box, and there you go. If you need to watch it again, you just pause or do a rewind, and that will enable you to watch the problems again. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and do another example with you so that you can see. Okay, make sure you you see the step and understand the steps, and if you need to pause the video, then you're more than welcome to. Alright, so that is raised times 4 over 3 raised to the negative 2 power. Okay, and I want to do that problem. So okay, first thing I do is I simplify each part at a time. I'm gonna go ahead and let me get the equal sign going over here. So I'm gonna have to take the exponent on the outside and move it to the values on the inside. All right. So this is using the quotient law here. Here's what I'm gonna get. I'm gonna get 3. Okay, the first factor is 3 raised to the negative 1, as you can see right here. And then, okay, so 3 to the negative 1, and then negative 1 to the 4 as well. Okay, so 4 to the negative 1, and then same thing over here. Okay, so times 4 to the negative 2 over 3 to the negative 2. Alright, and remember, whenever you see if it's a negative exponent, then you move it up or down accordingly. So just so that I can show you what I'm going to do with the first factor, notice that I'm going to move the 3 down and I'm going to move the 4 up, because whenever you switch position, it becomes a positive number, and we kind of model that in the previous problems. Okay, and then now we deal with this guy, guys. So there you go. Okay, and hopefully you can see what I'm doing here. Guess where the 4 to the negative 2 is gonna be? Yep, you're right. So it's gonna be down here. 3 to the negative 2. Yep, you're right. It's gonna be up here. All right. So there you go. Now we can cross multiply if we like here, because we're just multiplying, so we can cross multiply. So I'm sorry, we can cross cancel. So there's 1 4 and there's 2 4s, so I'm left with a 4. There's 1 3 and there's 2 3, so I'm left with a 3. So my final answer for this problem is going to be 3 over 4. Okay, and there you go. All right, very good. Okay, let's try another one. Okay, and the problem are going to get a bit harder as we go, so make sure that you understand the previous. Okay, continue to review your law of exponents. Those will not go away anytime soon, and that's actually a very important part of mathematics. So make sure you memorize them. All right, know how to use them properly, and if you do, you will avoid a lot of mistakes. All right, so there you go. 6xy to the negative 1 minus 2x to the negative 2 over y to the negative 1. The first thing I would do is I would highlight all the negative exponents. All right, because those are the base that I need to either move up or down the fraction bar. Keep in mind that the negative 2 is not raised to a negative exponent, so you don't do anything to the negative 2. Okay, a common mistake is people will move negative 2 up or something like that, so be careful. Okay, so the 6 stays where it is. the negative 2 stays where it is. Okay. Okay, this x will stay where it is. Okay. Now the x to the negative 2 at the bottom, it will now be on top. Okay, so this guy will now be on top. And then if you look carefully, we are gonna switch the y's, right? The y's, like this y is raised to a negative 1, so now it stays at the bottom. And then this y is raised to the negative 1, now it stays at the top, so it becomes 1. So now we can kind of clean things up, like y goes away with y. So what do we have here? We have, we also have 3 x's, so we got 6x to the third, right, over negative 2. So that becomes 6, negative 2 goes into 6, negative 3 times. So final answer. Right, there you go. Okay, taking a look at other more challenging problems. So remember to copy these down. Alright, if I were you, I would look at this problem one more time, all of these problems, because the more you expose yourself to these problems, the better you will become as a math solver. Alright, so as you can see, the problem does get a bit more complicated. This is an S, guys. This is the letter S right here. That's the letter S, so be careful. Alright, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to have to deal with this 2 on the outside first. Alright, so I'm going to take that 2, and I'm going to use my laws of exponent, and I'm just going to move it inside in the front of each one of those. So here's what I get. I first get S to the negative 1 times negative 2, okay, times t to the negative 2 times, and then that new negative 2, like that. Okay, and then this 5t stays out here. That's a 5t. So if we combine those s's, you can kind of see that they become s to the second, and then this becomes t to the fourth, and then there's another t, and there's a 5 here. And so hopefully you can see that, hey, there are, okay, the 5. Now t and 4t means that there are 5 t's. See, so t5 and then s squared. Okay, so you can write it as 5t5 s squared, or you can write it as 5s squared t5. And usually I would write it as actually 5s squared t5, because in alphabetical order s goes before t, so we also do that. Alright, a few more problems, guys. You're almost done. This is number 8. Okay, so 2pq to the negative 1 all over 4p squared to the negative 1. Okay, so again, do not forget to, whenever you see something that's this ugly, take care of the outside exponent first, especially if it's raised to a negative. So I basically move this to each of the base inside, okay, like that. And then move it to this guy, okay, and then move it to this guy as well. Alright, so here we go. We're gonna have 2. First of all, the 2, let me use blue. Okay, this 2 right here. So this 2 raised to the negative 1 if you move the negative 1 side. P raised to the negative 1. Now the Q has a 1, and then we're introducing a negative 1 in. Okay, all over. Take your time, make sure you show your steps. If you don't, you will likely to make a lot of mistake. Okay, and then negative 1, see, so I did that to the Q. Now I simplify the best that I can. So 2 to the negative 1 stays the same, p to the negative 1 stays the same. I'm going to multiply these together. Okay, multiply these together right here. Okay, so if I multiply that together, I'm going to go ahead and get q to the first power, and then 4 to the negative 1 power, and then the q to the negative 2 power. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and highlight all the negative power, those are the ones that I have to move either up or down so that the sign changes. So if I look at the number 2, then I need to move that down. That's right. So I need to move this down here. Good job. The number 4, I need to move that 4 to the negative 1. I need to move that up. Okay. And also like the p to the negative 1 right here, that has to be moved down. Okay. So p to the negative 1 has to be moved down. And then similarly, q to the negative 2 has to be moved up. And then this guy right here, guys, that stays where it is because it's raised to a positive power. Okay, so if you're confused on any of the steps, make sure you go over the video again and then just watch it slowly. So 4 divided by 2 is 2. And then notice that the there's a p at the bottom. Okay, and then you know how 2q with another q, so that we have 3q. So 2q to the third p. Alright. Okay, 2 more problems. We're almost done. Number 9. Okay, a to the 0, b, all being raised to negative 2 times, and sometimes they don't even put a dot, so be careful. I put a dot now because I want you to see specifically that I'm referring to multiplication, but I don't have to, and it also refers to multiplication. Alright, so there you go. First thing I do, I go ahead and I highlight the negative exponent. Okay, highlight this negative exponent. Those are the one that is gonna have to be distributed like that and like that, like this and like that to each one of those. So what do I get? I get a to the 0 over b to the negative 2 times over here I get a to the negative 2 b to the 4. Alright, so I'm taking so there you go. Now we go ahead and we multiply this straight across. No, I'm sorry. Let's go ahead and switch them first so that we get a better feel for how they come out. Okay, so I know that this is raised to a negative. So is that, which means that my my problem becomes oh, by the way, guys, a to the 0, anything to the 0 is equal to 1, remember? So a to the 0 is 1. That means that you have b squared on top, right? You have nothing else at the bottom, so you have a 1 at the bottom. Over here you got 1 on top because a squared is going to move to the bottom like that. Okay, so you have 1 left on top, so here's b to the 4th. Time to multiply everything straight across. B squared, a to the square, b to the 4th. They cancel out. You have what do you have here? You have 1 over a squared b squared. Alright, there you go. Put that in a box, you're good. Alright, last problem, guys. Okay, this one is gonna be a bit more challenging than the one we've done before. Actually, but it's not too bad. Okay, that plus negative u to the negative 2, and then v to the negative 2, like that. Okay, so the first thing we are gonna do is we are gonna highlight our exponent on the outside like this, and then go ahead and take that and distribute it to the inside. Okay, this guy goes with, oh, don't forget that it goes with the negative 1, because when you have a negative in front of the u, that you're referring to a negative 1. This one goes with that, and then this one also go with this. Okay, so be careful. Okay, so we're gonna get u to the 4th over v to the 2nd, plus, and then this is gonna be negative 1 to the negative 2, and then u to the 4, and then v to the negative 2 All right. So remember, anything that's negative exponent, it goes down in the denominator. So u to the 4 over v squared plus, and then the only thing that stays on top is u to the 4, and then you got negative 1 raised to the second power. And by the way, I should have done this. I should have put it in parentheses because negative 1, that's negative 1 raised to the negative 2. Okay, so put that in parentheses. When you move it down, it becomes negative 1. So the negative don't change. Okay, this doesn't change sign when you move it down. The only thing that changes sign is the exponent. So the exponent changes sign. V to the second. Okay, so you can kind of see that, hey, negative 1 square is 1. So that is going to be written as just the number 1. Okay, so v squared like that, see? Because it's 1. Oh, so look, the good news is you have a common denominator. So when you add fraction with common denominator, you keep the denominator, you add the top. So the top is like terms. 1u plus 4 plus another u plus 4 is 2u plus 4. Very good. I'm sorry, 2u to the 4th. So that, I'm sorry, that was 1u to the 4th plus another u to the 4th gives you 2u to the 4th. So that is your answer. That is the best that you can do. All right. And so that's as hard as it gets, and I think most of you did okay there. Make sure you copy down the notes. If you have any trouble on some of these problems, I would recommend that you look at the lesson again, or redo the problem again without looking at the video. Just copy down the problem and redo it again without looking at the video. So here's your homework for tonight, 5.2. We will do this homework in class. So your goal is to just copy down the take notes on the lesson, and that should be your homework for this weekend. All right, this is the homework. I'll write it down for you anyway, but I'll give you some time in class to complete your homework. Okay, so we'll just go up to 47. All right, have a good weekend, guys. I'll see you guys on Monday.